Howdy y'all, and welcome back to I Am Abled Because I Am is Able. And happy Labor Day weekend. So, what you're about to see is going to be a compilation of a couple different takes that I tried to do about what it means to work out or to exercise these days. I've been getting some questions from friends and from followers about how things have changed since I fell and since I've started recovering. And so I wanted to answer that question, but I tried a couple different takes and it took a couple different times of day, so I'm wearing different outfits and oh well. So please watch the following videos with that in mind, but I wanted to address something before you watch them. And first of all, that is that yes, what I'm going to talk about is things with my neck down, which might seem strange. My exercises are predominantly about shoulders down, but there are some with my neck that are too hard to explain on a video. So the reason why, even though I had a neck injury, a lot of what we're doing is with the arms and core, and sometimes even the legs, is because I've also had problems with my stamina, and I've had problems with my grip and with my strength. And so one of the major things when you injure your neck is to try and reteach your other muscles to take over, because your neck and your pain, wherever that injury might be, the pain that you have, you're going to want to compensate, and probably in the wrong ways. And when my body tries to compensate for my neck injury, my shoulder blades take over too much, and then my back takes over too much, and then I'm in a lot of pain all over and I'm exhausted. So physical therapy has really been going through a lot of working on my core muscles, which is basically the abs, which I'll probably talk about again in the rest of the other part of the video, and my arms, and some on my neck. So, but the next stuff is really hard to explain on a video, except that we're working on the strength of little things, like just even touching my head and making sure that my neck can keep it stable. So those are really too hard. So I'm not going to take time to explain those here in this video, but to say that even though it was a neck injury, yes, I'm working the rest of my body as well. And when you injure any of your neck, any of your spine, the higher up it goes, sometimes you can still injure things much lower. So we're still working out the rest of the body, even though it was the neck. As some of you may know, if you've been following me for a long time, or if you've been friends with me for a long time, I was a big dancer. Not like a professional dancer or anything, but I love to dance. I had almost every single version of Just Dance on the Wii that you could buy. And I love to work out. I love to do air boxing and air kickboxing and just really a lot of different things. I had a lot of different types of exercise games, I guess you could call them, on the Wii. I love doing it. It felt good for my body, and it helped with my bones and my connective tissues. It wasn't impactful, it wasn't the same. I like to mix it up and do different things all the time. That was how my routine was. It wasn't super impactful. It wasn't, meaning like super intense on the joints. I would do things that would be a little intense on the joints, and then I would back off and do things that were more fluid movements and things, so that different parts of my body just got worked all the time. No one joint was getting impacted all the time. That's how things were before I fell. Something that I got a lot of last summer, actually, sorry, I don't know why I keep playing with my hair, is outdoor games. Outdoor games were great, and still are, for the fluid movement of my arms, just getting some movement back into my arms with a little bit of weight, and then even bending to pick things up and keep the grasp of things. So I had lawn darts, still do, sorry, I don't know why it's past tense, lawn darts, cornhole, or as many people in the US call it, beanbag toss, gosh, I have a lot of throwing games. Also ring toss. That was one that I actually made myself. I'm going to try to do another video on this, or even put up the video I made about it. So yeah, that's what it looked like last year. There was also just fluid movement exercises. So at first I was doing movements like this without holding anything, just to get the movement back into my shoulder blades, the muscles. and to also get my joints used to moving again, get the circulation flowing. Then I started adding bands that would be resistance bands, and those would help with actually getting some resistance against things. It would be like lifting weights, but they weren't actually weights. They would be the amount of resistance that I was able to do. And you have different sizes or different strengths of resistance bands, and one of them is very loose. It's barely like having any resistance at all. And then there are some that are really tight. And even healthy people use these things for yoga and a few other different kinds of workouts. So it's within the workout community. And then I was able to work up some days to weights. By weights, I mean 1 pound up to 5 pound. So it really depended. And as I've progressed, my workouts have changed. So what do things look like today? Especially since I've talked to you about physical therapy and that I work out or go to a gym for physical therapy. Both of those are true. I do work out. I do go to a gym for physical therapy. Technically, it's a gym within a gym. So what does it look like to work out these days? Well, I am doing physical therapy technically at a gym, and I do use the bikes. Sometimes on a rough day, I will use a recumbent bike. Basically seated. So you're seated with the back and everything, and your legs are out in front of you instead of sitting upright. So when my balance is bad, I don't have to worry about falling over. I believe they're called recumbent, come to think of it. We tried an elliptical bike. That did not work for my knees. So I switched between those two, and recently-ish, I've been getting on an elliptical. So those are some of the equipment from a gym that I do use that looks pretty normal. However, unlike most people who can work out for like, I don't know, a half an hour or more at a stretch, I work out in what's called circuits. So what this looks like with physical therapy is I will work out on one of the bikes or the ellipticals for about 3 minutes. I had worked up to 5 minutes, but after my shot, my injections that I had a few months ago, and I've been having some stamina issues, so I haven't quite been able to keep up to that. So it's roughly 3 minutes at a time. So I'll do 3 minutes on one of the bikes, and then I'll head into the room and I'll do balance exercise, and I'll do an arm exercise, which might be arm curls, or it might be rows. Sorry, I had to stop and think. Or it could even be tossing a ball around. All of those things are really good for the arms. When I say these things, though, in the past I was able to lift weights up to about 5 to 10 pounds before my fall. And now I typically do these exercises either with nothing at all, so just air, or I will have a resistance band, which I'll show you at the end, or I will have a weight of 1 to 3 pounds. I have not gotten back to 5 pounds yet. And since my injection, I have not gotten up to 3 pounds yet, if I recall correctly. I'm pretty certain I've only gotten back to 1 pound. And then I'll do something with the legs. So sometimes it'll be, there's a box taped on the floor, and I'll try to do like steps and movements within the box, keeping my core tight and my posture right. And that's to engage my muscles and my brain to keep up with balance and with movement in a way that I can possibly get back to dancing. So that's the hope with what I'm doing there. So these are all the different things I do. Sometimes, recently I've also started using an arm bike, which has been pretty neat. And so then I'll go back to the bike, and then I'll go back to those other exercises. Pretty much every time is a slightly different routine. Some days I'm up to doing some kinds of exercises better than I am other days. Sometimes all I can do is a neck exercise, like neck curls, or laying down on the table. When I started, everything was pretty much on the table. And what those exercises are bridges. Basically, you lift your buttock in the air while you're doing that, lying down. The other one was marches, which is you keep your back flat and on the ground or on the table. And then you march your legs up and down while keeping your core tight, while not using your neck muscles too much, all of those things. So the hardest thing for me actually was bridges when I was doing those. Okay, so what I was talking about, these are resistance bands. This is the lightest weight one, the yellow. They also have red and green. Pardon the mess, I've had a pain week, so I haven't been able to clean as much, but oh well. So they have red and green and orange and blue, I think is the most intense one. Okay, so what are step ups and step downs? So I hope you can see this. I'll try doing that. All right, so basically I have a step. Usually it's plastic when you're at the physical therapy place. And these are step ups. Up, down, up, down. You do this about 10 times, and then go to the other leg. About 10 times. My core is doing well enough that on good days I try for about, sorry to leave the scene, I try for about 15%. And I do about 2 to 3 sets in a sitting. Yeah, so those are step ups. I thought I'd show you just a couple that I could. Yeah, so I also wanted to ask you, what is your favorite exercise? Do you like dancing? Do you like gymnastics? Do you like, I don't know, what else is out there? Kickboxing? Weightlifting? I'd love to hear from you. If you're in recovery, what are some of your favorite exercises that you've done? Yeah, for me, my favorite exercise. That's tough. I'd probably say I really do. I like the step-ups. There's one kind of step-up where the step is like only this wide, and then it's like 3 to 4 feet long, I don't know. And then you cross your legs over it, and it kind of feels like dancing. I feel like I'm doing like a salsa step or something, because I'm constantly crossing over, and so it feels kind of fun. It feels a lot like dancing. So that's probably my favorite. Yeah, but what's yours? Love to hear from you. Keep it positive. God bless. Happy Labor Day weekend, y'all. Bye.